intima as well, and that is called the internal elastic lamina. And this is what's going to give this kind of squiggly consistency to it, because if not, the epithelium would. So this is going to allow an elastic layer that you can see is going to be able to go boing, boing, okay, with that song this morning, okay? So that's the tunica interna. Tunica media goes from here all the way out to here, okay? Tunica media is composed of two things. Here I've got this nice smooth muscle, and look at that, I've got a nice collagen fiber in there that I can see as well. So the tunica media in the blood, in the artery, is going to be quite chunky. It's quite thick, okay? Why? Because this is what's going to regulate the diameter of the lumen. If the muscle contracts, it's going to increase the blood pressure in the blood that's flowing in that. And if it dilates or relaxes, now I'm going to have less blood pressure. More blood coming, less blood coming. And this is how we regulate a lot of blood pressure and all of these things, is by regulating the level of contraction of this smooth muscle, okay? So this is the tunica media. Then I've got the tunica externa. The tunica externa goes from here all the way out, and that is composed of a loose connective tissue. In arteries, and again, this elastic, the internal elastic lamina, and this external, do you see that squiggly line right there? That's called the external elastic lamina. The external elastic lamina and the internal elastic lamina, again, form fits function. The only blood vessels that need to be able to compensate for these changes in volume are the arteries. And the elastic layers are the ones that are going to give it that elasticity. It makes sense. So now here I've got then this external elastic lamina, and then I've got all of this loose connective tissue, which is called the tunica externa, okay? So I'll have these pictures posted there for you online so you can see those. So that's going to be what I want you to find for an artery.
Is the basement membrane?
We can't make it out. You just can't distinguish it. And that's why I usually kind of, but that's actually a nice picture that I can see the internal elastic layer. I can see it clearly. There I've got some pretty vasa vasorum, okay? There's actually a little arteriole, there's a little venule, okay? There's actually another little one that looks more capillary-like, but these are going to be then the vasa vasorum. You see how they're teeny-weeny? And they're in the lamina externa. So in the large blood vessels, the blood on the inside is flowing so quickly that it doesn't, by diffusion, have enough capacity to feed all of you. You saw that tunica media was really quite thick. By diffusion, the nutrients won't go all the way, so it's got to come from both sides, okay? So it's actually going to come from the vasa vasorum in that tunica externa and from the lumen. So there you have pictures of what the vasa vasorum look like. Here I've got the layers of a vein, and you can see that this is going to be a much smaller, okay, tunica media. Here I've got the difference between the artery and the vein, and this is a good one so that you can see the difference in the thickness of the tunica media. You see how this one's much thicker, this one's much thinner. This is not as nice and circular as this one. This one, since it has an internal elastic lamina, it gives it kind of this frilly edge, whereas the vein will not have that frilly edge. Does everybody see that? Okay? So that's going to be the difference between an artery and a vein. Okay? And then we have the artery, the vein, and the nerve, okay? To be able to look at. And when you look at this, it's going to have those clear, bundles of circles with dots in it, okay? I'll make a quick PowerPoint presentation. I really swore I thought I had these up there, and I'm sorry. My apologies for not having them up there sooner. But that's what I expect you to know. So even though it's not labeled in the atlas, that's what you need to know, okay?
And nothing more to know about.
You want more? I can give you more, but I figure you don't.
About the nerve.
Yeah, is this a nerve? No, I've already asked you. You already should have been able to distinguish the epineurium, the perineurium, the endoneurium. You already did all that.
Yeah.
So if I give that to you, theoretically, you should have been able to do it. You've done it.
And in the tunica media,
Yes.
should we be able to identify the collagen fiber?
That one just happens to be a pretty picture where I caught the collagen fiber, yeah. Huh? See this one in here? Okay. That one there? Those longer lines there. Actually, this is an elastic fiber in there because it's squiggly. But these are more the collagen. Okay.
So it might have elastic.
This one, it looks like it. That looks like elastic fiber. Probably collagen. So just know that there's elastic fiber. I don't know what your textbook says. Here, I see one. I don't want to, disagree with